So, what we're talking about is we're talking about spiritual identity, and we're talking about the soul and how the soul animates the body. And what we want is we want to be able to have the mystical and the practical working together so that our spiritual identity that comes from our spiritual memory, like there's a spiritual memory that we each carry, but that we also have emerging identities. And so in these emerging identities, spiritual identity really looks at our archetypes of the visionary and the healer. It also looks at the warrior. We also work with the warrior or the leader. We also work with the archetype of the teacher, and we all have all of those archetypes within us, and they're all working within us. And so what we want is we want to be able to access those inner archetypes. We also want to be able to have a good relationship with our guidance and be able to find guidance in places where it's the correct order of things. And by the correct order of things, I mean, one of the things that my mom taught me was that there's a specific order of things, and we want to be in contact with the good, the true, and the beautiful, but also of the divine, because there's a spirit that is greater than us. And we want to have contact with that spirit that is greater than us, but we also don't boss that spirit around. Like that spirit is the caretaker of us and the caretaker of everything on the sweet face of Mother Nature. So we have emerging identities, and we explore our spiritual memory, and we also explore the atmospheric self. And the atmospheric self is, oh my gosh, you look so cute, Rebecca. You're so focused. That's so great. The atmospheric self is the soul. And so oftentimes in India, they would call this your aura. In some places, they would call it our power center. In other places, they would call it, we call it the sikun. In the Lakota language, it's called the sikun, the soul. In spiritual identity, we also go over the different aspects of the soul and the four parts of the soul. But with our ability to access this lovely, powerful being that loves us and wants us to be happy, as we're accessing that, what we're also doing is we're paying attention to our atmospheric self. And the atmospheric self is what surrounds us. So the soul is actually around us. It's like not inside of us. It's not something where we're seeing through the eye, the soul is seeing through our eyes, but it's literally something that is surrounding us. And we learn to attend to the spirit and attend to the soul. We're also working with Angelus Arian's different ways of seeing. And the different ways of seeing are vision, perception, intuition, and insight. And accessing those things means, where am I going to get some guidance today? You know, like how do I get guidance? Where am I going to get guidance? And we work with different aspects and different forms of getting guidance in addition to perennial wisdoms, right? So we have perennial wisdoms that are accessible and available to all of us now, which is wonderful. And perennial wisdom means a wisdom that is a constant, right? Like there's a wisdom that is a constant that says love is the answer, right? And no matter where you go, no matter what sacred text you read, love is the answer, right? And that if we can bring love to one another, then we will be able to figure things out together and really get through anything, even our own bullshittery, right? Which, not to say that any of us have any of that, but I know myself personally, I have to work through some bullshittery and I need help to do that, right? And so where do we get the help to do that? How do we access the gifts, the talents, the mysteries, and the guidance? One of the ways that we can access that mystery is to listen to our body wisdom. There's ways to do that, to listen to the helping spirits that are around us, to listen to the guidance of our own soul. How do we do that? It's a process. And we do that by building relationships with different aspects of our own soul, by building relationships with different helping spirits and guardians. We do that by working with different symbols and learning how to follow the symbols that are asking to guide us. We do that by accessing our dream life and our dream world, and being able to communicate with the Great Spirit or with Creator or with our great and beautiful mystery in ways that are meaningful and fulfilling and that give us a path to follow. And so there's a spiritual path that we can follow, and we craft it from our spiritual memory, but we also experience it through the world interacting with us and guiding us and showing us how it wants us to interact, how it wants us to move and be, and where it wants to lead us.